My uncle said I should be grateful he's letting me live in his rental for free. Then I found out what he's been charging my parents. I moved to Portland for grad school last year. Housing was completely insane. Studios were going for $20,200 a month, and anything decent required first month, last month, and a security deposit I didn't have. I was 3 days away from signing a lease for a place with black mold when my Uncle Jerry called. "Hey, I've got that basement apartment sitting empty. Why don't you take it? No rent, just help me with yard work when you can." I almost cried. My parents were over the moon. At the next family dinner, my mom hugged him so hard he had to peel her off. "You're saving our lives, Jerry. We can't thank you enough." He waved it off with this humble smile. That's what family does. The kid needs to focus on school, not stress about rent. For 6 months, I lived there guilt-free. I mowed the lawn every other week, trimmed hedges, shoveled snow twice. Small price to pay for free housing in one of the most expensive cities in the country. Every family gathering, my parents would bring it up. My dad would shake Jerry's hand. "Seriously, we can't express how much this means." Jerry would just shrug and say something about investing in the next generation. Then came tax season. Jerry's a small business owner, owns 3 rental properties around Portland. He's disorganized as hell, always scrambling last minute. This year, he asked if I could help sort his paperwork. Promised me $200 in pizza. I showed up on a Saturday with my laptop. He handed me a massive accordion folder labeled 2024 rental income and said he'd be back in a few hours. Had to pick up supplies for another property. I started sorting receipts. Property 1, Property 2, Property 3. Everything was pretty standard until I got to a section marked Portland Property LLC, basement unit. There were bank statements, Venmo receipts, check stubs, all from my parents' account. Spawned $1,800 every single month, going back 8 months. My stomach dropped. I went through every page twice thinking I'd misread something. Maybe it was for a different property. Maybe my parents were investing in something I didn't know about. But the memo line on every check was clear. Rent, basement apartment. The address matched where I was living. I sat there on his couch staring at $1,400 to $400 in payments my parents had made for my free housing. My hands were shaking. My uncle had been collecting rent this entire time while playing the generous family hero. I didn't confront him that day. I photographed everything. I needed to think. Part of me wondered if my parents knew and just didn't tell me. But the way they thanked him, the genuine relief in their voices, it didn't add up. They really believed they were getting a gift. Easter dinner was 3 weeks later at my parents' house. The whole extended family was there. Aunts, uncles, cousins, my grandmother. 20 people crammed around a table with ham and scalloped potatoes. Halfway through dessert, Jerry stood up with his wine glass. He does this every holiday. Makes a toast. I just want to say how proud I am of this family. We look out for each other. That's why when my nephew needed help, I didn't hesitate. Gave him a place to stay, no strings attached, because that's what we do. Everyone nodded. My mom had tears in her eyes. I pulled out my phone. My cousin asked what I was doing. I didn't answer. Just opened the photos and connected to the TV via Chromecast. The payment receipts filled the 65-inch screen. "Uncle Jerry, quick question." My voice was calm, steady. "If there's no strings attached, why is my dad's account showing $14,400 in payments to Portland Property LLC?" The room went completely silent. Forks stopped mid-air. My dad's face went from confused to pale in about 3 seconds. He turned to Jerry. "What is he talking about?" Jerry's smile vanished. He set down his wine glass. "Well, obviously someone has to cover utilities and property tax," and I swiped to the next photo. "The lease agreement you emailed my parents. Line 7, utilities included." My mom stood up. She walked over to the TV, stared at the bank statements. Her hands were trembling. "Jerry, did you charge us rent while telling everyone it was free?" He stammered. Tried to explain about maintenance costs and insurance and how complicated rental properties are. My aunt, his own wife, asked him point blank if he'd bought that new boat last summer with their money. My dad pulled out his phone and canceled the automatic payment right there at the dinner table.